So welcome everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the COABE's Adult Education and Family Literacy Week preparation webinar. Today, you're going to hear from several presenters who I will introduce to you in a few minutes. They're going to share with you information about COABE, what COABE is doing to elevate adult education into the spotlight during Adult Education and Family Literacy Week, including activities and events that we hope you and your students will participate in. But before we get started, COABE can't do all of this on our own. We rely on the generous sponsorship of our partners, like our longtime sponsor and partner, Essential Education. At this time, I would like to introduce Dan Griffith, President of Essential Education's Educator Division. Dan?
Hey, Jody, thank you very much, and welcome everybody. We're excited to be able to partner on these efforts, especially this important week coming up for AEFL. In honor of this, I'm just going to let the cat out of the bag on a press release that we're going to make next week because it is directly connected to this. Essential Education is partnering with MindPlay. MindPlay is an absolutely incredible adaptive learning reading program that will enhance everything that your students are doing. And so we're going to make that available through all of our programs, whether they're academic or workforce. And I think you're going to be really excited in what you see and how powerful this tool could be in helping your learners reach their goals as quickly as possible. So we're excited. Next week, we'll have a press release that goes out on this partnership, and we'll have more information about how it'll be integrated into our program soon. And I'll put a link in the chat for anyone who'd like to jump over on the MindPlay site and see more about this incredible program. And with that, I'll turn it back to y'all. Thanks so much for giving us the opportunity to be a part of this.
Thank you, Dan. And again, thank you for your support and Essential Edge. We really appreciate your partnership and excited about the new initiative.
Thanks.
So what is COABE doing? COABE is working with several federal and state agencies, like our federal legislators, the U.S. Department of Ed, state governors, and local mayors. We're working with them to help elevate the field of adult education. We're also working with national business partners like Tyson, Google, IBM, and Amazon. COABE has developed tools and resources for the field and provides ongoing professional development through monthly webinars, initiatives, symposiums, and our national conference. And now I would like to introduce our presenters who will tell you a little bit about the work that's going on with COABE. So Jeffrey Abramowitz is currently the Executive Director of the Reentry Services for JEVS, Human Services in Pennsylvania. Jeff is also the COABE Board Secretary and Chair of the Safe Fellowship Initiative. Regina Soot is the current president-elect for COABE. She is also the chair for the Public Policy Committee. And Megan Lindsay is on our task force for Students as Leaders and a former Adult Learner of the Year. Marilyn Pizzulo is the Associate Chief of Workforce Strategy for the Department of Workforce Development in Indiana. Her former position was the State Director of Indiana. She's recently been promoted. And the Innovation Chair also, or new Innovation Chair, I should say, for COABE. And Jennifer Wigington is the President of the Indiana State Association for Adult Education. And Marilyn and Jennifer are going to share how they work together to support adult education in their state. And then Erin Vabornik is the current COABE Safe Fellow and new and hot off the press. She is also COABE's new Students as Leaders Coordinator. So we're excited about Megan's work and being able to start with work with us on that Students as Leaders program. So we just wanted to share with you that COABE is always mission-minded, and all of our work around advocacy is driven by our mission. And to share a little bit of that with you, to provide you with our federal update, I'd like to introduce you to Elise Walsh, who is with our partners at the Penn Hill Group, So Elise is going to update us on what's going on at the federal level with legislation. Elise?
Thanks, Jody. My name is Elise Wash, and I'm a vice president here at Penn Hill Group, working with COABE. And I'm so excited to join you as you gear up for AEFL Week. By way of background, I spent the previous 25 years before coming to Penn Hill Group working in the Senate. And what I can share from that experience is how critical your advocacy is to advancing COABE's goals. It takes courage to speak up, but without doubt, if you can present a powerful and compelling case, you can make a real difference. AEFL Week comes at a critical time, just as Congress will be negotiating the final funding bill for the upcoming fiscal year. As you've seen from COABE's weekly action alerts, the House proposed a $24 million increase for the Adult Basic Education State Grant Program, bringing the total to $714 million. While the proposed funding bill released by Senate Democrats would provide an even larger increase of $35 million, which would bring the total for the program to $725 million. This is exciting news and gives us something to work from as we continue to press for even greater funding increases in the fall. Both the House and Senate, as you may know, are currently on recess. That means they're home in their home districts, gearing up for the fall season. But once they return to Washington, they will be singularly focused on getting the government funded. The House returns on September 13th and the Senate next Tuesday, September 6th. With the current fiscal year ending on September 30th, there isn't enough time to finalize a funding bill by that time, even if the politics of the upcoming midterm elections wouldn't stand in the way of that. So Congress will first need to pass a continuing resolution to keep the government funded through the elections. We expect that continuing resolution to run until the end of the first week of December, but that hasn't been finalized yet. For a final appropriations bill to get to President Biden's desk, both Democrats and Republicans will have to then come to an agreement. There is some momentum to reach that goal before the end of this year, but really it will depend on what happens in the midterm elections, whether that will happen or not, or whether we'll have to punt some of the funding issues until next Congress, which will start in January. Because appropriations will be top of mind for your senators and House members in September and throughout the fall, AEFL Week is perfectly timed for maximum impact. As you know, COABE's advocacy goal is to double the federal funding for the Adult Education State Basic Program over the next 5 years, starting with the first installment of at least $810 million this funding year. So your advocacy during AEFL Week and in the weeks that follow is to make plain for your members of Congress and senators why an even bigger boost for adult education is needed than what has been proposed so far. Of course, be thankful and appreciative that both the House and Senate have proposed increases. From there, a good message would be that COABE is looking to retain at least the higher Senate funding level of $725 million and urging Congress to go even further to get up to that $810 million request. Here is where your voice is key: your story, your experience, your expertise as to why adult education funding needs to be increased. Whether it is to address the needs exposed by the pandemic, prepare for the inevitable increase in new students that will come after an economic downturn, build capacity to address longstanding wait lists, to meet the needs of local employers, and to continue to innovate and improve instruction, you know best why more funding is needed. Plus, it is worth noting to your members of Congress and senators that adult education didn't receive any dedicated relief in the COVID-19 bills or the recently passed reconciliation bill. So the need for increased funding is particularly acute. Don't worry, you'll be given all the talking points and information you'll need ahead of the efforts on AEFL Week. But for now, use this time before the start of AEFL Week on September 18th to gather your thoughts, build the best case, think through the most compelling reasons why more adult education funding is needed, and seek quotes from participants on what adult education has meant to them, and from your business partners on why having an educated and literate workforce is so critical. If you have data about the success of your programs, be sure to have that at the ready too. We at Penn Hill Group are looking forward to supporting your efforts during AEFL Week and in the weeks and months and years ahead. Thank you so much for including me today. And now I want to pass things off to Marilyn Pizzullo. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here. I am Marilyn Pizzullo. I am the Associate Chief for Workforce Strategy with the Indiana Department of Workforce Development. And the department is the agency of record for adult education in Indiana. I'd also like to introduce Jen Wigington. If you want to come on, Jen, and give a quick introduction, and I'll let you also introduce our fellow mentor. Not sure, we may have lost Jen.
I'm here.
You're there.
Sorry, I'm talking away. That technology is interfering with my day today. Hi, I'm Jen Wigington. I'm the Indiana Association of Adult Continuing Education Executive Director, paid staff for a lack of a title, and a previous COABE fellow. Aaron, I always butcher your name, your last name. So Bobernick, I believe, is also of past state fellow and mentor. And I'm sure she'll be coming on a little bit later since she's not popping on automatically.
All right. So Jen, I'll just quickly talk a little bit about the state director's role as it relates to this exciting upcoming week. I think any other state directors out there, it's really incumbent upon you to work with your state associations to make sure that you guys are aligned in your messaging during Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. Jen and I will talk a little bit more about what we do together as an association, but I see that we've advanced to one slide that I want to go ahead and also give a shout out to all of my state directors and to all the programs, and encourage you to take this week. It's a great time to have programs reach out to legislators and discuss the funds that might be available to your states for training under the Infrastructure and Digital Literacy Act. Make sure that your state directors are reaching out and finding out who the lead agency is in your state on these funds, that your state and or at the local level, you individually are getting to the table on the conversations around infrastructure funding as it relates to training as well as digital literacy. And then another great recommendation is that you maintain some digital success stories. I think we all have those. We don't share them. We don't share them like we should. Jen posted in there, absolutely, it's something we say in Indiana all the time. If you're not at the table, you are on the menu. Next slide. So it's really important when we're trying to promote this week or adult education in general is that our states understand what your limitations are as state directors or state staff versus the capabilities of your state associations, and that you leverage those partnerships. We know in Indiana that we have limitations on what we can do from a state perspective as far as marketing and outreach. We have to be very careful that we don't tiptoe over into the advocacy side of the house as state employees. But that doesn't mean that I can't let my partners at IAACE know of things that are going on and encourage them to do outreach to legislators on everyone's behalf. Jen, you want to add anything to that, or next slide?
I'll simply add that IAACE is a 501c4 organization. So as a C4, advocacy and calling attention to is part of what that C4 does. If you're a C3, your limitations might be a little bit different, but you still are able to call attention to. So that's the main thing that I will share in regards to an association.
Okay, next slide, please. So Jen does a great job on talking on this slide, so I'll let her take it.
Absolutely. Whenever it comes to our collaboration as a whole, it really is about the synergy of our organization and the committee. The committee constantly keeps in communication and flows information. The committee truly is in sync. Without that committee, I'm not sure how we could actually function. The committee is led by co-chair Christy McIntyre Gray. She is a COABE fellow this year, and she's the co-chair. Also, our co-chair from last year has stayed on in order to, because mainly it's a budget year, and we want to make sure that we are fully prepared. Rob Moore just recently retired, but is longstanding in knowing what to do and when to do it. Of course, we work with our lobbyist as well, and our lobbyist helps us keep on focal point and make sure we don't take any avenues that aren't going to lead us in to the table. That we're not going to end up on the menu if we follow his direction. The things that we have done in regards to preparation for AEFL week started about 3 months ago with a request to the governor for a proclamation for the week. And then we've also started that prep stuff as far as the plans and the steps that our members can do to get on board early, starting with that National Literacy Directory, making sure that your information is correct on there. And then all the way up to this just released this past week, getting information in for the Invest in the Midwest virtual rally that the region will be holding and that Indiana is participating. We also will be rolling out an essay contest, a business recognition, and the date for our adult education at the State House, which will be February 15th. So all of that together with working with Marilyn and her department and the committee, just a constant sync of information and making sure that we are always sharing what we're doing next, and we're always proofing each other's work so that we can truly have that synergy. And the preparation that we're doing as far as it's all happened with the webinars and the state meetings and attending board meetings. We couldn't do it without all that communication. And I think that's the main focus we want to talk on. We want to leave off the other stuff. Am I correct?
Yep. So I also wanted to say, in partnership with Jen, the state staff in preparation for this week created a social media library with using state recognized statistics on adult education. It doesn't compete with anything that IAACE is already doing, but it complements that. And it complements the advocacy work that IAACE is trying to do. I am happy to share the link to that so that you can see some examples of what these social media links look like. And it uses all of the DWD templates that have already been approved by our state. So there's no question that that anybody would get in trouble for using any of these, any of our Indiana providers would get in trouble for using any of these links.
I went ahead and posted our link to our AEFL site, and everything that Marilyn is referencing is linked on our site as well, as well as all of COABE's information. Everything that COABE has prepared as well is also linked off that page.
All right, next slide. All right, there you go. Thanks all.
Hi, everybody. It's Jeff Abramowitz, and thank you. That was so much information and great to hear. But growing up as a kid, I always wanted to be an astronaut. So I don't think I'm going to get very close at this age, at least. But I will tell you that the closest I could get could be in the command center. So we're really excited. On September 19th, 20th, and 21st in Washington, D.C., the COABE organization is going to be hosting a command center. And that command center is going to be full of television screens and remote broadcasts. And we want to feature and hear what you're doing in your state. What's the command center is going to be located at the Hall of States, which is an incredible venue. And if you've never been there, it's remarkable. I get excited just walking in the building. But we're hoping that if you live or near are near DC on the 19th, 20th, or 21st, that you'll come to the command center and join us. But more importantly, if you're having an event in your state and you want to share it out, let us know. Let us know that the event is there, and we'll, and if it's virtual, we're going to bring it in and podcast it and get it across the country. And also, if you have a legislator, maybe that's going to be in Washington that week that you want to give some time to for a virtual event, have them come over to the Hall of States and we'll get him on in the command center so he can broadcast live right from there with everyone else. So we're so looking forward to it. You'll be getting some information and some links about getting on the calendar and sharing your event across the country and doing it at the command center. So really excited about it. We will be doing some podcasts there. I'll talk more about that in a minute. And you'll be seeing a lot of social media feeds. So thank you for a great graphics, Coabe. I love that slide. We can go to the next one though. So the State Advocates for Adult Education Fellowship, this was a program that started, we're in our second year, and this was our way at COABE of getting our adult leaders across the country to become better advocates for adult education, getting them to think strategically, building capacity for change, evaluating what's working and what's not, and helping us change both regionally, locally, and federally more about what's happening. I want to take a second and show you a little bit about the work that was done by our SAFE Fellows last year. You can run the video. Thank you, Sharon. That's an awesome video. So they say that the proof is in the pudding, and for sure, numbers just don't lie. Our state fellows did an amazing job last year of really taking advocacy to a whole nother level. And I just want to highlight three that weren't on the screen, but that I'm so proud of. One is that 12 states, as a result, we believe at least, 12 states received additional funding as a result of work done by our fellows. Six fellows from our cohort across the country received a raise as a result of doing their job, and 21 fellows reported engaging in new advocacy committee roles across the country. So great work, fellows. We appreciate you, all the work you're doing. And we hope that next year you'll think about joining our SAFE Fellowship program across the country. It's a great experience for anyone at all that's in adult education. So we can go to the next slide because I want to share with you a little bit about our Advocast podcast. So we are about to hear from Erin Verbornik, and Erin and Sarah Hagegi have been doing a podcast called Advocast. It's been a remarkable project, but we really want to hear stories about adult education and successes that you've been having as both leaders and teachers, instructors, as well as students across the country. So if you have a great story to share, send it in to us. Let us know that you have a story you want to tell, and we'll get it on our podcast. Erin and Sarah have a great time doing the podcast, and it's really remarkable. You could find it on almost every major podcast stream that's out there, as well as on the COABE website. So get on, take a second and check it out. Our latest episode has been loaded, and really looking forward to another great season of Advocast. So thanks, Erin and Sarah. And now I think I'm going to turn it over to Erin to take it from here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Erin Verbornik. I wear many different hats, but as you just heard from Jeff, I'm co-host of Advocast with the amazing Sarah Hagegi. I'm also the New Students as Leaders Coordinator. I'm the 2021 SAFE Fellow for Illinois and a current mentor in that program. But most importantly, for what I'm going to talk about right now, I am an ESL teacher in a local program in Illinois and have been for almost a decade now. And I like to give a little bit of background about kind of my history with advocacy, because when I talk to other teachers about it, sometimes they think, oh no, that's something that should be happening above me, right? That's happening in the state associations with Jen, that's happening even further up at the state level, like what Marilyn explained. And I just want to reiterate that there's a lot of powerful work in advocacy that can be done here at the local level. And so here are some examples of things that have been happening at the local level in Illinois. So I have worked with my region co-chair as part of the kind of our state Adult Education Association. Her name is Heather Martin, and we have created a virtual party room, which I'm not sure if I can't share my screen here, but wonderful. Thank you. I'll just quickly share it on the screen, and then I'll also share it in the chat just as a means to share some links so that links are all in the same place as they are applicable to people in the state, to the region, just to get people involved. So that's a possibility, not just, again, ours is more at kind of a state regional level, but even at a program level, just a way to get people excited, right? It looks fun to have something colorful and a fun way to connect with adult education. Additionally, we Heather and I have been reaching out and working with all of the programs that are within our region to get them to ask for mayoral proclamations. So Jen mentioned asking your governor for a proclamation, but you can do that also at the local level, and it's really powerful. So a proclamation is it's a printed letter / a letter that is usually posted on the legislator or elected officials website that just acknowledges the importance of the Awareness Week. And it's something that students can go and actually pick up that proclamation. You can host the mayor at your program where they give out the proclamation to you. So it's just a great way to let the community know. And it's also a great way to build that connection between your program and your mayor. Additionally, the community college that I work at, Elgin Community College, hosts a book drive. So we get book donations from local programs, and we are then able to put them out on tables in the hallways. And so students, when they come in for class, can just grab books for their kids, books for themselves, just to, again, bring that awareness to Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. Some other things that we've been doing is to also put together a student advocacy toolkit, just a way that teachers can integrate advocacy into the classroom and really talk about AEFL week. And then doing some advocacy training for adult educators at the state level. Like Jeff said, the SAFE program has been incredibly powerful. So how can we take advocacy and really bring it to each state and share it widely so that everybody can get engaged? Okay, and so now I am going to pass it over to the voice that we really need to hear, right? The most powerful voice in the room, which is the voice of either a current or former student. And so I want to introduce Megan Lindsay, and she's the distinguished winner of the prestigious COABE 2014 Adult Learner of the Year Award. She is a member of the Students as Leaders National Committee, and she is currently employed at the Illinois Department of Education.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me and coming to hear my voice. While attending my high school equivalency program in 2010, one of our assignments was to write to our local representatives and slash representatives. And at the time, there was a presidential election going on. And because I'm an audio learner, I naturally wanted to watch the news and pay attention to those things. But it was also the first time I'd realized that my voice could make a difference or make a change in my community in the area. So as I sat there writing my paper to the legislation, President Obama was nominating himself, or was giving his acceptance speech. And President Obama's words kind of caught my attention. And he said, "But know this, America, our problems can be solved. Our challenges can be met. The paths that we offer may be harder, but it leads to a better place. And I'm asking you to choose the future." And at the same time that sentence came on, I was saying almost the exact things to my son to try to encourage him to continue his education, to earn his high school. In my mind at that time, I wasn't sure if I could truly make a difference or if my voice could make a difference. And I still wasn't even sure education would make a difference in my life. But Obama kept talking about leaving no child behind. But what about the children that were left behind when education did not work for the adults with learning disabilities? President Obama also went on to say in his speech, "A government has a role in this, but teachers must inspire, principals must lead, and parents must instill a thirst for learning." And again, those words rang to me. And as a student, we have to do the work. And I'd always told my kids, you have to work hard. I always wanted to be a teacher, but did not feel that I could achieve that dream, having several learning disabilities that I'd struggled with every day as a parent and now as a student. Shortly after this, the light bulb went on and I enrolled in my associate's degree to earn my diploma in education, hoping to come back to the same place that I earned my diploma to graduate. Today, I am now done with my associates in education, and I'm working on earning my bachelor's degree in adult education at Bellevue University, and while ambassadoring for a program and working with COABE and the Student Leader Task Force. And I also work full-time in the same program as a data manager here at West Davenport Center in Davenport, Iowa. While doing that, I've always also focused diligently on literacy because I know how imperative that is with dyslexia. So I've created small programs that librarians from the local library will come over and build literacy with our students, encouraging that with their children and their parents. I continue to work with our literacy council on the executive board almost as an internship where I can continue building my skills and I also attend as many presentations that I can to advocate how important it is to help students like us build our voices and make us know for the first time that it's possible. Without COAVE, I wouldn't be here or able to stand up and speak for myself. So I appreciate everything they do. And thank you for coming to hear my voice.
Thank you so much, Megan. Were you going to take this next slide?
I am. So, engaging adult learners, sharing your story is so important. And even for me, when I first started there was a lot of implicit bias, even in my own mind, and hearing more of the students' stories, I can see a different perspective when I'm listening. The program is really, really easy. When I was going through my program and working with COABE in the ambassador program to reach out to legislators, it was a little difficult because it was the first time we'd done it with COVID. So I had to think a little bit outside of the box and how am I going to still get it in touch with them when our legislators didn't want to reach or talk to us. They were tired of Zoom. They were tired of all those things. I asked our marketing to help me create a magazine and an article that I could share and use COABE's information and kind of adjust it to make it fit me. They're sharing it now. Thank you. That I could attach when I was more personalizing what COABE gave me into this program. And that helped me to access, they also helped me to access voter information and resources. I can go on there and see and use those details to add to my presentation to make them look more appropriately. I'm also working on an alumni study, thinking back to the time that I was in 2017's National Outstanding Leader of the Year. At that time, I couldn't believe somebody would give me anything, let alone become an alumni. And I constantly have wondered over the years, if it had done so much for me, what had it done to others? And so I brought that conversation to the ladies during a meeting and they've ran with it. So that's kind of cool. So I look forward to seeing how that's going to go. And I've worked with legislators and visited some legislators, but again, most of my information is done by email right now because I have done the COVID time as an ambassador, but I'm looking forward to finally being able to get out there and meet them face to face and shake hands, and hoping that comes soon. So I hope everybody joins us and knows that this program is absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Megan. Sorry I jumped in there early. You were just getting started. So hopefully what everybody, my name's Regina Soot, and I'm the president-elect for COABE and your public policy chair. Hopefully what everyone has learned or maybe started thinking about is, what am I going to do during Adult Ed and Family Literacy Week? So, we're going to go through some of the tools. Hopefully what we've done is made it so easy and provided every resource imaginable so that everyone can do some advocacy work. And maybe you're thinking, like I think Aaron mentioned, somebody else is going to be doing this work, the state association, or Aaron's doing it. I don't have to do it. Really, raising awareness about the work that you do and raising awareness about how great your students are is everybody's job. Short, tall, teacher, support staff, administrators, state association, introvert, extrovert. We've got ideas for just about everyone. So we want to make sure that you have the tools to and resources to utilize for Adult Ed and Family Literacy Week. And we want to make sure that you engage with your learners and even your business partners, because even they can be helpful in our advocacy work. So I'm going to try to pull up and share the screen here. I'm learning as we go all the time, and share some of the resources that we have on the COABE website. So if somebody could just give me a thumbs up, like you can see that. Yes?
Great.
Okay, awesome, thank you. So Adult Ed and Family Literacy Week, COABE has a whole website with all sorts of tools and resources for just about everyone. So I'm gonna go into just a few of them really quickly. So right here, you can see there's one for COABE members to take action. Oh, you know what, before I go into that, let me just show you what the calendar looks like for the week. So you are participating right now in the webinar. Thank you very much. And if you know of colleagues or friends that didn't make it today, they'll be able to watch this later. But look, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we have activities online all throughout the week and at the command center. So we will be doing, the Advocast will be doing live, interviews and events. So as Jeff said, if you are in the DC area or nearby, bring a student, come and visit us there. So lots of activities planned for the week. So we want to start, thinking about what your plan is going to be. So look at that schedule. So back to the resources. So right here are the COABE member take action button. And what you're going to see here is, the social media messaging center, also really great graphics that you can tweet out or you can use on Twitter, or even just, print out like old school, print out and hang around your program, or perhaps maybe you could get, a local library or a business, McDonald's or your school to put something on their marquee for the week. And you can use a lot of this, these great graphics and facts and statistics. Also under here is you can watch videos that have submitted. And if you have great videos, please make sure you're submitting those videos. They're a great way if you have a legislative visit or you want to show somebody what Adult Ed is doing with students. If you can't take a student with you, you can use these videos instead. Now to local programs, Aaron talked a little bit about what you could do at the local level, but look at all the resources we have here. We've got the graphics, we've got how to issue a press release. We've got the Twitter storm that we hope everybody that's on Twitter, and if you're not on Twitter, you've still got a couple weeks to get that account, and it's pretty easy. And then also how to feature an article maybe in your school newsletter or in your city or town or state. There's resources all over the place for helping with your local work for advocacy. There's the state leaders action items. And this page, even if you're maybe not a state association leader, there's a lot of really great resources here that you might want to touch on. You can look up your legislators. You can send an email to schedule a virtual or in-person visits. Hopefully what you're going to be doing is logging those appointments into this link right here so that we know what's going on. We like to be able to say when Adult Ed and Family Literacy Week is done that, we had 250 visits or, this many contacts with legislators. And so this is how we kind of keep track of all of that. There's a state toolkit and there's even scripts in there. So like if you're not sure how to do a Zoom call, there's PowerPoints and scripts right in this toolkit. So it's a really great option to use. And then of course, if you've got some great business partners, get them involved too. They can tweet out your literacy facts. They can go on legislative visits with you. They can do a lot of the same work that we're asking Adult Ed folks to do. So I believe we have a poll here, Sharon, is that right? All right, can everybody see the poll there? What we want to know is what are you already planning to do? And hopefully after this webinar, you'll even have more ideas about things that you might want to do. So we'll take a moment to do that poll. I'm hoping everybody can see the poll there. Also, Sharon put in the chat a link to also share what you're doing if you're not maybe doing any of these things on the poll. All right, great. Thanks so much, everybody. So it looks like, it's great. It looks like people are planning to do a lot of work using the COABE resources, participating on social media, engaging adult learners. That's the top one. I'm so happy to see that, because really, a lot of us on this call can tell you when we go on visits, legislators and their office staff, they might be very impressed with our glossy flyers, but if you bring a student and you let that student tell right from their perspective how adult education has, helped them, transform them and their families, you might as well disappear in that meeting. Engaging students is really important. Thanks so much, everybody. And if your ideas weren't on this poll, please use that link in the chat that Sharon provided to let us know what it is you're doing. Want to show you one more resource here, and that is the Educate and Elevate site. And in here, we've added new fact sheets. And what I really love about this national fact sheet is we've added stories, because I think, those of you that have who have listened to me once or twice know that I like to say that the formula for successful advocacy is story and data and relationships. So hopefully you're building those relationships with your policymakers and the people in power in your local and state communities, that you've got good data from your state offices or from these great fact sheets here on the COABE website, and that you're using your students' stories because they're very impactful. So this is really great. It's new, this national fact sheet. Right here is the map locator tool. So you can go in, and I'm from Arizona, so I'll pull up Arizona. So you can see all of the Arizona statistics. So if I was going on a visit, or either virtual or in person, I could take a lot of this information with me. There's also some other, like if you're going with maybe a business partner, or if your business partner wants to know why adult education is so important, you can also download this flyer. And there's the wonderful award-winning success files with Rob Lowe that really kind of talks about adult education in our country and why it's so important. And so what I'm hoping is that you will use these resources that we've put on the website, share those graphics on social media. You can get a customized logo for an Adult Ed and Family Literacy Week. Just give us an email about that. There's help with doing press releases. There's the Twitter storm. There's how to do an article for your newspaper or newsletter. There's just so many resources that we want to make sure that it's very easy for you to participate. It's so important for you to participate. So I believe I'm going to hand it over to Sharon Bonney now, COABE's CEO, and a great advocate for us as well as our students.
Thank you so much, Regina, and all of our wonderful presenters. I am just really excited after seeing the responses there in the poll. It looks like we have a wide variety, a lot of individuals participating, working with their adult learners, working with their state teams, which is super exciting. So I just want to, at this point, take a minute to again acknowledge we have the work going on at the federal level. COABE will be meeting with legislators. We'll have our command center there. We'll be giving out legislative championship awards. So we have that work going on. And then we have the state level work with our the state directors and the state advocate fellows, the state associations, hopefully all working together. And there's a number, I believe there's 32 proclamations between mayors and governors
at this point, and we have more coming in. So there's quite a bit of work taking place at the state level. And then we have that local level piece, which is so critical. And this is where I just really want to call upon everybody that's here. You have adult learners who can get in there and send an email to the legislators. They can make a phone call. They can share their story. There's so many ways you can engage with them. But then there's the work that you can do as a teacher administrator. So lots of ideas there on our National Adult Education and Family Literacy Week webpage. We'll also be sending information out over eBlast as well, so stay tuned for that. But I just really just want to encourage everybody to get in there, make those calls, send those emails, participate in the social media, Twitter storm. There are a lot of resources that we've tried to make them as easy as possible for you to use them. So we also want to do a quick poll too, while we're here, before we end, to ask who's in the room today, just because we're very curious about who our constituents are that are here. So if you could just take a quick minute and let us know if you're a teacher, administrator, state staff, adult learner, or other, we would love that. And while that's going on, I'm just going to take a quick look here to see if there's any questions. Please go ahead and, okay, so I see a question here about how to get to the individual states, and I'd be happy to show that to you. So I'm going to share my screen as soon as this is over, as soon as the poll is done launching. It looks like we have pretty close to the same number of teachers and administrators, state staff. It's a little bit less, and some others. So great, a couple, I guess 1% of adult learners. Okay, so I'm going to take just a minute here to share my screen and go to the Educate and Elevate site. So up here on Educate and Elevate, you will see right here on the side, there are the adult learner success stories, teacher success stories, employer successes. We also have this map locator tool. This is where you'd click in there, find your state. Let's just go to Texas, for example. So your information, the data there for Texas. Lots of great data, and then success story, which is here, which you can click right in and get a downloadable PDF that you can bring with you to a legislator. So you have that option as well. And we're always accepting more success stories. So you can click in here to see more. But we also have some information here that legislators tend to love beyond this, which gives you lots of great data. So for example, this is showing that in the state of Texas, they get about $961 of federal funding per adult learner compared to $10,000 in elementary ed per pupil. So we're working with individuals with lots of barriers to employment, and yet you can see we have that reduced funding, which is why we're always fighting for more funding. And we also have some performance metrics here and some other great data. So just want to encourage you to check that out. And then also this is through the partnership with Institute of Education Science. And this is really a snapshot for each state where they stand in terms of literacy and numeracy. So you can click in there, and governors love this kind of data. And then you can come over here and click into this map. It takes just a minute, but you can go drilled right down to the county level, and that will show you, let's say, explore the map, and that will show you in terms of literacy gains. So we have literacy and numeracy, and then by which level. So you can click right in here. So for example, in Dimmitt County, you can see the average literacy score compared to the county, the state, and the national level. This is the kind of information that governors love, and it's right there at the click of your fingertips. So super excited about that. Also, just want to mention that on this Educate and Elevate website, there are just a lot of tools available to you, and social media room, just lots of great information, which I know that Regina shared. So want to really encourage everybody to take advantage of that. And I'm going to check real quick to see if there's any last questions here. Regina, if you'd like to come back on as our public policy chair and president-elect, and someone who really participated in the advocacy efforts for, I think, 10 years now, at least with COABE, right? I'd like to hand it over to you to say some final words.
Thanks, Sharon. Hopefully, I mean, look, I know all of this stuff, and every time I see the website or hear from someone, I think of new things or new ways. that we can all advocate. I know that many times when we do these webinars, people are a little bit nervous about advocacy and kind of that difference between advocacy and lobbying. So I just want to assure you of a few things. Every person in the United States of America, every citizen can do lobbying or advocacy. You just can't do it on your work time with your work title or on your work device. But if you're sitting at home and you want to do that 3-click and say, Congress, we need more money, everyone is allowed to do that. You know, where it might get tricky is when you're asking for money or, you know, working on the laws, which most of us are not doing. That gets more into the lobbying realm, but everybody can raise awareness. You can do it in the grocery store line, you can do it with your legislator, you can do it with your mayor. That raising awareness and educating people about what adult education is, everyone can do that. You know, just want to make sure that everyone understands that. I know that that comes up a lot of times. I don't know if there's any specific questions that people want us to answer, but we're coming right toward the end of the hour. I just want to tell you the other reason that we should all be advocating is because the work that we do is important. What we do is valuable. What we offer to our communities, to our states, and to the nation is valuable. You are valuable, and you should be shouting it off the rooftops. And that's really what raising awareness and educating everyone about what adult education is and what it does. That's what we're doing here. And just so grateful to be in this field, so grateful for all of you watching, and can't wait to see what everyone does for National Adult Ed and Family Literacy Week. So thank
Wonderful.
you.
Thank you so much, Regina. Thank you to our distinguished presenters here, Megan Lindsay, Aaron Vabernick, Jeffrey Abramowitz, Marilyn Pizzulo, Elise Wash, Jody Angelin, and Jen Wickington. Appreciate you all. And I just want to say to everybody else, we really look forward to amplifying your great work during Adult Ed and Family Literacy Week. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.
Bye now. Bye, everybody.